Hi guys, welcome to week 33 of Connects You, and this week's topic is on feedback. Feedback is an information that is given that includes a reaction about a topic, a product, or a person's performance. So if you are working in the Summit Learning Platform or even in Odysseyware, when you guys submit a project or something like that, you do tend to get feedback from your instructors. And I think too often we have a way we view it as failure, and we think we've done something wrong, and we tend to shut down. So you guys are viewing it more like the crowd on the left, like it's a bunch of boos. But you actually need to realize that what your instructors are trying to do is to give you some helpful feedback and show you where you could have done better. And then that way, because you get a second chance to submit everything, that way you can go ahead and turn in your best possible product. So we need to start thinking about feedback in more of a positive manner. So what do you do with feedback? Again, don't view it as failure. It does not mean you failed. Feedback is a process. So we want you to look at it, analyze it, and then apply that feedback to turn in your best product. Don't take it personally. The feedback is to help you be more successful. And then make sure you're asking any questions that you have about the feedback if you're confused. And make the necessary changes, add or delete any information that you think will make your work better. People do want quality feedback. So I like to use the example of Yelp, and you guys are probably way too young to be using Yelp yet, but give it a decade. So the one on the right, person gives it 5 stars, but her thing just says, simply said, this place never fails. It's amazing every time. Every dish I've ever had was a slam dunk. And while that might be an ego boost for the restaurant owner, it also doesn't really give them any feedback. And people that are successful constantly crave feedback. They want to get better. They know they're not perfect. So while they did get a 5-star review, this person doesn't really tell them anything to make better. Whereas the person on the left, she gives a nice long review. She breaks down each dish that she had by pros and cons. And then I even highlighted the bottom part. She gave specific feedback. So the pros of this seared ahi with green beans, perfect quantity, even to share, well cooked, well seasoned, not too salty, not too bland. And then she does give cons. Some kind of sauce or glaze would be nice, but not entirely necessary. So, and then she also does, I'm going to move this out of the way. She says things are worth waiting, food included. I totally recommend this place as a good date place, except for the fact that it is loud and the space is a bit cramped. Good to catch up with a friend, though, for sure. So this feedback on the left, I can guarantee you, would be much more desirable for a restaurant owner to get, because they can see what an outsider is thinking. Oh, you know what? Maybe some kind of sauce or glaze would be good on that tuna or on those green beans. And then maybe thinking of how, okay, this is a loud space. How could we kind of quiet it down or make some changes to make it more appealing for a date spot instead of just friends? So again, it's just the kind of difference in the quality of feedback. Make sure you're choosing your words wisely. You want to be honest, but you don't want to hurt someone's feelings. And you want to make sure that you're being constructive, not rude. So I think a perfect example that most of you probably know is Simon Cowell. He's made his way to be very, very successful by simply being rude. And he is a talent scout, but his feedback is basically what not to do. So we'll just watch a minute of this.
It says here you work as a wedding singer.
I was.
How many ended in divorce? If I were you, I'd phone up the War Department, volunteer your services, because you've just invented a new form of torture. I'll give you a tip for future auditions. Don't. I don't mean to be unkind, but you have one of the worst singing voices possibly in Miami. I don't want to be rude, but you could be the worst singer in New York. Don't take this personally, but...
Oh, please.
No, I mean it. You're one of the worst singers I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, awful.
It's bizarre.
Okay, fair enough.
So it's a no?
No.
No.
Thank you for seeing us anyway.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Right.
Bye.
It looked like the before, during, and after of Weight Watchers.
You're the one I be seeing in my dreams. You want to hear the chorus?
No, I couldn't hear anymore. Okay. Best singer in America.
Oh, yeah.
Right. I can honestly say you are the worst singer in America.
Really?
Truthfully...
That's my first audition, so...
Well, I'm not surprised, and it should be your last. That way.
Okay, so you guys get the point. A lot of times he was really just discouraging them instead of encouraging. So whereas, we all know just from listening, we're not talent scouts. Those people were not very good at singing, but there would have been a way that was more constructive to maybe not shut them down entirely and to give them some advice rather than just telling them how terrible they are. So constructive criticism often contains helpful and specific suggestions for positive change. So saying things like, I like this idea, but have you thought about, or while this is a good start, one simple thing that you could do to make this better is. So that's actually how you can bring somebody to do their best work without shutting them down. And I like the image on the right because the older man is saying, do I look like I'm interested in hearing some constructive criticism? And I think that, again, it goes back to what I was saying earlier. Too often we shut down at the thought of feedback and at the thought of criticism, but we have to understand that when it's done correctly, we should actually really, really crave that because it's going to help us be better in all realms of our life. And the number one rule of feedback, according to mindtools.com, before giving feedback, make sure you remind yourself why you are doing it. The purpose of giving feedback is to improve the situation or performance. You won't accomplish that by being harsh, critical, or offensive. So Simon Cowell should take this advice, but then again, he has a ton of money. So, all right, so now it's your turn. In a private comment, I want you guys to please provide some constructive criticism or feedback to tell me or your learning guide how they are doing and how they can be better to help you become a more successful learner. So remember what you've learned today. It's important to be nice, but also be truthful. And the practice that we're doing today is to pick your word choice wisely and use kind words and put a positive spin on even a negative aspect that you're trying to tell me. So, all right, if you guys need help, please reach out.